Cognizant to the needs of our learners, parents, and teachers, the Department of Education provided us with powerful tools for productivity that will allow us to foster critical thinking skills, problem-solving skills, communication and collaboration skills to be compassionate, responsible global citizens. Join us and discover new ideas in our series of professional development training program with the ICTS Edtech Unit and Microsoft Education Philippines. Together, we will equip our learners and empower our fellow educators for a dynamic future. Para sa bata, para sa bayan, at para sa guro. Sulong Edukalidad.
Magandang araw, Sir Wilbur po, at your service. Narito ang ETUlay upang gabayan ka sa inyong pag-aaral upang lubos na maunawaan ang iba't ibang paksa o subject. Ang ETUlay ay isang free online tutorial class na pinangungunahan ng ICTS Educational Technology Unit sa pamumuno ni Undersecretary Elaine Del B. Pascua. Ang programang ito ay hindi lamang para sa mga bata, kundi ito rin ay magsisilbing gabay sa mga magulang at mga guro kung paano nila ituturo o gagabayan sa bawat asignatura ang kanilang mga anak o mga estudyante. Sa kasalukuyan, ang self-learning module mula sa rehiyon ng Calabarzon at kilala sa tawag na pivot ang ginagamit sa ating ETUlay online class. Kaya ano pang hinihintay ninyo? Ihanda na ang inyong mga ballpen o lapis, papel o kwaderno at samahan kaming itulay ang pagkatuto para sa bawat batang Pilipino. Sama-sama tayong magtutulungan para malampasan ang mga hamon sa panahong ito. Halina't matuto kasama ang inyong online tutor sa oras na ito.
Hello. Good afternoon, Philippines. Good afternoon, world. And welcome once again to our ETUlay online tutorial for contemporary Philippine arts from the regions. Okay, so before I proceed, I also would like to greet and holler to my school head, Dr. Carla Marie D. Carandang, to my fellow teachers at Quezon Science High School, and of course to all the Quezayanos, to our students who are tuning in right now here at our online tutorial via DepEd ETUlay. There you go. So I wasn't able to air last week due to some unexpected events, but I will make bawi this time, okay? So before everything else, meron lang akong erratum last week, last time during our lesson about the local materials used in contemporary arts here in our country. I was asked by one of our viewers regarding the source or origin or the place where Capiz shells come from. So I'd like to stand corrected. So it comes from the Capiz province of the Western Visayas region. There you go. So parang dun yung maraming sabihin na natin supply ng Placuna placenta, yun yung scientific name, nung window pane oyster o yung Capiz shells na nga. So there you go. So galing ito sa Capiz province mula sa Western Visayas region. Tapos ang ibang tawag sa kanya sa ibang lugar sa Pilipinas ay lampirong. Okay, so ginagamit ito syempre sa mga window pane. So yun yung isang erratum ko for the last lesson. I wasn't able to give a definite answer, but now I am definite with that answer. So it came from the Capiz province, Western Visayas region. There you go. So this time around, okay, this is for week 2 to 3 actually of our lesson here for the Philippine Contemporary Arts from the region. And of course, I am your tutor for this afternoon, Tutor Mary Grace. So, our lesson for this week and for week 3 will be all about the traditional techniques used in Philippine contemporary arts. I supposed to divide the techniques into 2 kasi maraming examples, maraming definitions. Okay, kaya lang what I did is combine them na lang. So for one lesson here in our online tutorial. Okay, but before I dive into our MELCs, objectives, and the other things in our lesson, I'd like to say good afternoon sa ating mga viewers. Okay, good afternoon, Ma'am Jane Marmol, watching from Lower Binogsakan National High School Division of Albay. Straight away from Albay. Good afternoon, Paula May, Ashley Ferrer, Arlene Jenna Refazo, and Jana May Mañas. Okay, our students in Quezon Science High School. And thank you for joining me in our ETUlay online tutorial. Okay, so moving on. Okay, so this is the ADM that we use or we are using since the beginning of the fourth quarter. Okay, and this one is developed by DepEd Region 4A Calabarzon. Thank you very much for letting us use this module. All right, and our melts for this week and the coming weeks and the coming week will be these two. Critiques available local materials and appropriate techniques used in creating art, and explicates the use of available materials and application techniques. So we are dealing with these melts, kaya inaalam natin kung ano ba yung mga materials and then ano ba yung mga techniques na pwede nating gamitin dun sa mga materials na yon here in our country. Okay? Because after all, this is SIPAR. And then our objective, so at the end of this lesson, you should be able to do research on techniques and performance practices applied to contemporary art. So don't be misled. Meron tayong word na performance dyan kasi like what we discussed earlier in our lessons, kasama sa contemporary art ang performance, di ba? Okay, although this time we'll be dealing more with techniques applied on actual materials. And then objective number 2 will be to identify the different techniques used in contemporary art. This is the core of our lesson for this afternoon's online tutorial. All right, so previously, our lesson focused on the local materials found in our community, okay, like copy shells, rattan, abaka, bamboo, and all those materials that we see, okay, from the different regions in our country. We also discussed about different art forms such as found objects, aka junk art also. We have discussed minimalism and of course, large-scale art kagaya ng mga art installations. All right? So, like in any other lesson that we have, we are going to start this one with a game. So this one is called Guess the ING. Okay? But before I give you the instructions, I'd like to say again, good afternoon to Aliana Balmes, okay, another student from Quezon Science High School. Good afternoon also to Mary Joy Banal of DOST and Ariel Mendoza. Thank you for watching. So, here are the instructions for this game. You're going to observe the pictures and then you're going to give an ing verb. Oh, may English, di ba? Kasi English teacher si ma'am originally, no? You're going to give an ing verb that describes the action expressed in each picture. So again, you're going to give a word ending with ing, a verb to be exact, describing the action that you are going to see in every picture. Is that clear? For every picture, you are given 5 seconds to type in your answer in our chat box. Okay? So, good afternoon also to Ma'am Samantha Blasi. Thank you for joining me this afternoon. And to Ma'am Gloria Corpus Calaluan and Ma'am Fenina Quejardo. Are you ready for our first picture in Guess the ING? All right. Put those fingers up so that you can start typing the answer after seeing this picture. First picture. Here we go. There. Okay, so you see here in the picture is a man holding what sort of, is it Mjolnir? No, hindi yan Mjolnir. A hammer or a mallet, okay? Then meron siyang another tool in his left hand doing something on the wood in front of him. Ano kayang ing verb, okay, that best describes this action, okay, shown in this picture? Let's see, 5 seconds, go. You can type in your answer in our chat box. Okay, we have several answers. We have carving from Mastela Bayhon, From Arlene, Ashley, Jana, Jane, carving also. Ma'am Gloria, Ma'am Samantha, carving also. Let's see if you are correct. Okay? And of course, naturally, you are correct. But just to be exact, this is wood carving, which is why I pointed out that there's a piece of wood in front of this man, of this carver, of this artist. This is wood carving. Okay, so give yourselves a round of applause for you have the first picture. You have the answer correctly for the first picture. Moving on to our second picture. Okay, prepare yourselves. This is our second picture for guess the ing. There you go. So this smiling lady is doing something on that jar or vase. And what action, ing action word can that be? Are you ready to type in your answer? 5 seconds, go. Good afternoon, Lay, Calvin, or Solino. Okay, I have here some answers coming from Ashley, sculpting, wood carving, potting. Gandara, Ma'am Gandara said molding. Let's see who got the correct answer for this picture. And the ing word we're looking for is, there you go, molding. So Ma'am Gandara got it correctly. Okay, so this woman in the picture is molding what seemed to be a clay jar. Okay, and that is one of the lesson or one of the topics that we're going to discuss later on. All right, and now, okay, for the third picture, I hope you already have a 2-point score, okay, for our game. But before I proceed, good afternoon, Ma'am Rosalie Sally Esnueva Manuel, Ma'am Sin Munoz, and Ma'am Samantha Blasi. Ma'am Samantha and Ma'am Rosalie got it correct also, molding. Our third picture for this game. Are you ready? Okay, get ready. This is the last picture for our Guess the ING game. There you go. What is this groovy man doing with that material? Okay, he's doing something to it. So you have 5 seconds to type in your answer and guess the word we're looking for. It has to end with the letters ING. Okay, 5 seconds. Begin now. All right, so we have answers here. Good afternoon, Ma'am Elisa and Ma'am Vivian. Thank you for joining me this afternoon in our online tutorial session. And time is up. Okay, we have answers. Okay, more answers. Weaving. It's a common answer of our viewers. We have crafting. Generally, of course, all of these are crafting techniques. Thank you for pointing that out, Ma'am Zumo Ricatozi. Hey, Ma'am Rain Chan also answered weaving. We have basket weaving from Ma'am Jane. Okay. Good afternoon, Ma'am Jamie De Vera Bornola. Okay, watching from San Gabriel National High School, Santa Maria, Bulacan. All right. Are you ready to find out the answer? Okay. What is the exact ing verb that can be applied, okay, to depict or to explain the action shown in this picture? It starts with letter W. Oh, excited na ba yung mga nagsagot ng nagsisimula sa letter W? Weaving, ang karamihan na sagot. Even Ma'am Jamie said weaving. Ma'am Mastella Bayhon said basket weaving, to be particular. Okay, oh, by the way, that material is made out of rattan. So let's see. The answer actually is, okay, the action he is doing is called wickering. Okay, wickering. Yes, yun yung tipong na-involve ka, engage ka kay John Wick. Wickering, joke lang, okay? So wickering is the action being described here, okay? So later on, we're going to discover what we mean by wickering. But before I proceed, again, shout out to Ma'am Michelle De Lara Marasigan, Mark Vincent D. Marasigan, 6 Curie. Maybe that's the name of a section, grade 6 Curie. Okay, so let's move on to our lesson. So remember the words that we have in this game. We have wood carving, then we have molding, and then we have the final one, which is wickering. Okay, what do we mean by wickering? What do we mean by molding? And what do we mean by wood carving? Let us find out, okay? So Ma'am Samantha Blasi is watching from Liliano Elementary School. Thank you, ma'am. Our topic for the day is all about the traditional techniques that are being used by several artists here in our country. Okay, so these crafters, okay, they come from different places in the Philippines. Okay, and those places, they became known or famous because of the unusual or extraordinary products that they make. For example, sa Paite, Laguna, saan ba sila kilala, di ba? Romblon, saan ba sila kilala? Capiz, saan sila kilala? So yun yung isang dahilan. But other than that, syempre, yung mga techniques that we apply to these different materials, yun din yung isang reason why these places have become famous. Okay? So these products become their way for the people to know about their places. Okay? These craftsmen, these artists, as we must call them, they use traditional techniques in creating a particular art, and that has made them famous. So this is more like a combination of material plus technique. So you need to have both knowledge in both aspects or both elements for you to be able to produce, okay, a craft or an art, okay, that is worthy of sabihin natin worthy of popularity, okay, among those who will appreciate your kind of art. So what are the traditional techniques that we have in the Philippines? We have so many actually. The first one would be wood carving. So this is a technique that involves working on wood with a tool into some sort of aesthetic object. Meaning you're going to form, okay, something out of that wood using a tool or different kinds of tools to be able to produce an artistic object. For example, look at this very intricate wood carving, okay, found in Vigan, to be exact. Okay, tapos you see how the artist, the wood carver, okay, has transformed this piece of log into an intricate work of art. The complexity nung pagkaka-carve niya dun sa mga leaves, dun sa patterns, okay, there is depth, di ba? There is definitely art, and there are several shapes in this kind of in this example of wood carving. Okay, so this is one technique that is very popular in our country. And this is wood carving. All right? So before I proceed, I'd like to say again, good afternoon and a shout out to Ma'am Gemma Tuyay, watching from Camarines Sur, Bicol region. Ma'am Vanessa Valenova Balasoto, parang ano yun pangalan ng tennis player na babae. Okay, watching from Santo Tomas Integrated High School, Calauan, Laguna. Ma'am Anna Marie Lerma, watching from Sisters of Mary Immaculate, San Pedro, Laguna, where I also grew up. Okay, and Sir Jeffrey Trazo from Los Arcos National High School, SDO Agusan del Sur. Watching from Aglipa Elementary School is Ma'am Princess Matutino. And watching from Laac National High School, Davao de Oro, is Ma'am Marlene Angeles Mates or Mates. Okay, thank you for being with me here in our online ETUlay online tutorial. So moving back, this is wood carving. Okay, and then our next traditional technique is called molding. So earlier you have seen this very attractive woman because of her smile. Okay, and molding is a technique wherein you shape any pliable material like clay, okay, to make jars, vases, or any other art form, okay? But the method that is involved in this is basically molding, and usually just your bare hands. Ang pinakang best example that we have here will be pottery, okay? It is one of the longest traditional technique that we have here in our country. So when you go to places like yun nga, sa Ilocos, meron sila dong raw pottery, ano? Bakit raw? Kasi when they make the clay pots, no, the clay pots, hindi ito yung kagaya na nabibili natin na polish na, okay, meron ng designs. And raw and polished clay pots are really, ang tawag dito, rustic, and they really represent the cultural heritage that we have got from our ancestors. Okay, so this is molding. Siyempre, hindi lang naman clay yung nagagamit. Pwede ring mud, okay, and any other pliable material na pwede nating i-mold into something. I know for a fact na clay yung pinakang famous kasi yung anak ko, mahilig din siyang mag-mold ng iba't ibang shapes out of his clay. Yan. So this is molding. Siyempre, hindi lang naman raw vases or jars yung napoproduce. Pwede rin siyang lagyan ng incised designs. Pwedeng naka-ukit, pwedeng naka-paint, okay? Naka-color, pwedeng may hawakan, pwedeng wala. Okay, so itong mga incised designs na ito, makikita ito sa mga pots na pinuproduce sa Masbate. Okay, so among the finest of early Philippine pottery designs are footed dishes. Okay, plato na may malalaking plato na merong tawag ito, na merong mga paa, parang ganyan, that were decorated with geometric cutouts, molding, cording, or finger impressions na ginagawa o makikita natin sa Batangas. Okay, so pottery traditions continue to develop in certain locals such as Burnay. Ito yung unglazed clay pottery ng Bigan. So, unglazed, so ibig sabihin talaga siya, raw siya, talagang direct from the potter himself. So, yun namang examples that you see in our slide, yan yung meron ng mga iba't ibang uri ng designs. Yan. So, kung meron kayong art sa art product sa elementary and even sa high school, I'm pretty sure na nagawa niya rin ang pottery, no? Maybe using mud or other types of clay. Okay, there you go. And then our next technique, again, is one of the oldest techniques in Philippine art, and this is fabric weaving. But before I give you the definition, let me just say thank you and good afternoon to Ma'am Marisa Rosal Patricio, who is watching from Tibuli National High School, South Cotabato Division. Oh, starstruck, kasi yung lesson natin is very much related, especially this one, And then Ma'am Marisa Rosal Patricio, watching also from Tibuli National High School, Division of South Cotabato. Thank you for being with me this afternoon. So weaving is a method of textile production in which two distinct sets of yarns or threads are interlaced at right angles to form a fabric or cloth. The textile hand weaving is one of the most attractive and interesting traditional crafts of the Philippines. I know for a fact kasi kahit nanonood ako ng video lang, sobrang interesting siya kung paano nila nakikreate yung patterns, dun sa kanilang mga wini-weave. And this is textile, one of the hardest to manipulate kind of material. Parang ang natatandaan ko lang pagdating sa weaving ay yung pelikulang Wanted, kung saan may mga secret codes na lumalabas dun sa woven fabric dun sa isang factory. But anyway, that's besides the point. So fabric weaving, again, is one of the oldest art forms, okay, or traditional techniques that we have in our country. At talagang ito ay dinarayo ng mga foreigners and even ng ating mga kababayan, kung saan may mga nagwi-weave, napunta sila doon, nagse-selfie kasama yung weaver, So, for example, the Ilocano still practice hand weaving using the pedal loom. The pedal loom meaning gumagamit ang paa yung weaver para mapagana yung loom. Sana lang wag silang matusok ng karayom, but that's not in our lesson kasi fairy tale yun. So, their materials are cotton and natural dye. So, although now, gumagamit na yung mga Ilocano ng store-bought threads and synthetic dyes, still, yung process, yung technique, ginagamit pa rin nila yung hand weaving, So, which is extra tiring kasi gumagana yung kamay mo, gumagana yung paa mo, and then yung utak mo kasi hand to eye to feet coordination yan, di ba? So, they know several weaving techniques and designs passed down to many generations. So, dito nagkakatalo-talo yung mga output o yung products ng weaving. Doon sa kanilang patterns, doon sa kanilang design. For example, we have here what we call a bell or inabel. So, it is a fabric customarily made of cotton fiber turned into spools of beeswax brush yarn and woven in a handloom. So imagine, yung cotton fiber nila ay nilagyan pa yan ng mga beeswax, no? Bago isalang sa loom, okay? Bago gawin yung tinatawag nga nating abel or inabel. So if you have questions about this, if you have additional information, you can type it in our chat box. So good afternoon, Ma'am Princess Matutino from Aglipay, ESSDO Rizal Annex. Our next example, okay, come from Mindanao. So hand-woven from Abaca, scientific name Musa Textilis. So among the Muslims of Mindanao, the Magindanaon, Maranao, and Yakan continue the tradition of cotton and silk weaving. Grabe, silk. So isa sa pinakamahalagang uri ng tela sa mundo, simula pa ng unang panahon hanggang ngayon. Di ba? Silk. So galing yan sa silkworm, no? So, ito yung material na ginagamit dito sa mga lugar na to sa Mindanao para ma-produce yung kanilang mga textiles, no? So, for example, also, we have here tinalak. So, it is a sacred cloth woven by the Tivoli people in communities around Lake Cebu in Mindanao Island. So, nakita niyo yung pattern, napaka-intricate ng pattern, tsaka yung color combination, very classic, no? Very classic and really irreplaceable, no, yung color combination nitong tinalak. So it is sacred also. It is considered sacred by the Tivoli people. Yung pattern na yan, yung tela na yan. So the other patterns that we have for the weaving technique are these ones. We have yakan. There are 3 different patterns here for yakan. You have there the pattern from the Tivoli, the Maranao, then you have here the Blaan, parang gold and black yung color combination. The Magindanaon pattern, Tausug. We have another one from Yakan, so a total of 5 actually. Then we have another one from Tivoli. You will see do sa Tivoli pattern, dominant yung color na, I don't know if it's dark red or maroon, pero dominant siya do sa kanilang mga patterns. And then with Yakan, there are always pops of different colors, no? With Yakan. Then we have Maranao here, na mahilig sila sa mga parang tribal shapes, although mostly parang may tribal shapes, pero yung sa Maranao parang reminiscent of the ones that we see in Egyptian or probably Sumerian shapes, no? So these are the different woven patterns that are used or that are done using the hand weaving techniques of the different locals here in our country, or let me say local artists here in the Philippines. So there you go. So kapag pumunta kayo sa mga lugar kung saan may nagaganap na mga hand weaving, usually mga babae na pinamana na sa kanila yung technique ng pagsasagawa nito, I'm pretty sure may engganyo kayo na manood kung paano nila ginagawa, o paano nila napoproduce itong mga hand-woven textiles na ito. Kasi the pattern itself, that's one of the hardest or one of the most difficult thing to achieve in weaving. Okay, so I know I tried, kaya lang naipit lang yung kamay ko. Akala ko mag-wanted training ako, pero hindi naman naganap. But anyway, like what I said, these are very intricate designs. Again, reminiscent of the culture that we have inherited from our ancestors. Okay? So before I proceed to my next slide, good afternoon, Ma'am Giselle Nicolao Jaime, who is watching right now from Tibuli National High School, Division of South Cotabato, and Ma'am Angel Mingming. Good afternoon po, and thank you very much for being here with me in our ETUlay online tutorial. Moving on to our next technique. Okay, we have what we call the basketry technique. Now, in basketry technique, you have to remember the 4 different methods that basket makers use in producing their art forms. So those methods are coiling, we have plaiting, wickering, and twining. So hindi po ito yung tsaaha, ito yung twining na method na ginagamit din sa pagsasagawa or pagpuproduce ng isang basket. So some of the terms that are specific to basket weaving include loops, twining, ribs, and spokes. The common raw materials used in making baskets are rattan, we have abaca, nito, tikog, buri, bamboo, pandan, coconut leaves and sticks, palm leaves, and beeswax. Okay, so yung ibang basket naman, napoproduce sila by combining these materials. Kasi why not? Pwede namang, hindi naman porket Yari sa buri, all throughout buri na yung basket, di ba? So, these artists, they combine different raw materials to produce, okay, one of the best baskets ever made in the entire world. And you can find it right here in our country. So, let's see, what are these 4 methods in the basketry technique? So, these are the exact depiction of how each method is being done. So, the first one is coiling. So, as you can see, parang nagko-coil sa paligid ng isang hard and usually rounded material, yung gagamitin para doon sa basket. Usually, wood, abaka, and then yung iba pang combination. Then yung plating naman, so parang ginagawa din natin yan sa papel, yun nandun sa lower part ng ating slide, dito sa left side. Yan. Usually sa plating, diyan nagko-combine diyan parang nagtitirintas ng iba't ibang materials with different colors yung nagsasagawa ng basket. Then we have, dun sa upper right corner, we have twining. Okay, it almost looks like coiling, but no, they are of different methods. And then finally, the last one is wicker. Now, wicker or wickering is commonly used when you are producing furnitures out of, for example, rattan. And that is the most common example of material used in wickering. Okay, let's see some outputs, some specific art products using these different basketry technique methods. So the first one we said is coiling. So ano ba yung output niyan? If this is the process, this is how the final art product should look like. Okay. So that's coiling. So ang ginagamit niya is pieces of I think that's buri. And then, kinocoil niya sa paligid nun, bundle of buri, then kinocoil niya sa paligid nun yung parang tali, no? Native na tali. This is coiling. Okay, so that is an example of basket made out of the method coiling. And our next basketry technique method is what we call twining. Okay, and this is how its final product looks like. Okay, but actually this product use several methods. Ito yung sinasabi ko kanina. Hindi lang sa materials nagko-combine, but these craftsmen also combine the different methods, which is pwede naman. So it shows the diversity of the artist's knowledge when it comes to materials and methods. Okay, and then our next one is plating. So, pinakang common na product ng plating method would be yan. So, alam natin yan, nahihigaan natin yan. Lumakay akong nakahiga dyan. Ito yung mga banig o ating mga native mats, no? So, nakita nyo from the simple colored ones to the colorful ones, okay? Parang tinitirintas, piniplate together yung materials to create the pattern. So, ito yung plating method na tinatawag. And then, we have wicker or wickering. Okay, this is its output. Yan. So, it's a nice basket also. And ginamitan ng wickering yung almost all parts. Yun nga lang, magkakaiba ng materials ang ginamit dun sa basket. Pero yung kanyang handle, ginamitan ng coiling. Okay, I think that's tali, no? Abaka, yari sa abaka, yung handle niya. Pero all the rest, sa pababa, yung pinakang vessel nung basket, yung pinakang pabilog, gumamit ng wickering method. Different materials. It's very, I think for the artist, it will be very exciting to explore. Kasi you're using the same method, but you're using different materials. You can also use different colors. Di ba nakikita natin yan sa mga, sabihin natin na pinakang commonplace na makikita natin itong mga to would be souvenir shops. Okay, when you go to Vigan, when you go to Mindanao, when you go to Cebu, kung saan may mga souvenir shops, may mga gantong products. Okay, not just baskets, but also the other products that we have seen earlier, like yung banig, di ba? So they all made use of the traditional techniques that we have in our country. And it's very important to note na itong mga traditional techniques na to, although we are already in the contemporary times and we are discussing contemporary art forms, the thing is, it has been bridged. These techniques, these materials have been bridged to our time. Okay? So these artists, these craftsmen, they're just looking for ways ways and methods to, level up their game so that they'd be able to produce these art forms na hindi matatawaran talaga at hindi magagaya sa iba't ibang lugar. So, isang ang mga sikat na, ngayon, sikat na uri ng art form, yung mga art installations. And I have seen different art installations na ang ginagamit nila na pieces of art na ilalagay doon sa kanilang large-scale art ay ginamitan ng mga traditional techniques. Iba't ibang baskets, iba't ibang woven materials, okay? It's like a gallery of the ancestral techniques that we have, no? And showing it to the modern world is one way of giving back to what our ancestors, okay, have gifted to us. That's very important, especially for an artist, to be able to bridge the traditional ones with the contemporary ones. So if you're aiming to create a basket of your own, for example, so try to explore, okay, what are the materials and what techniques or methods you can use so that you can represent our cultural heritage in your art form. Okay, kaya mahalaga din na sa mga schools natin ay napapractice din kung paano ba mali-level up, okay, itong mga traditional techniques na ito and local materials to create, para sabihin natin, na ultimate art form that will represent the cultural heritage that we have, that will represent the personality of our country. Okay? So these are the traditional techniques in our country that most contemporary artists are still using even up to this day. Kaya nga contemporary. Okay? So before I proceed to our next part, let me say hello to Ma'am Mary Grace II, who is now watching from Narvaca National High School. And we have Ma'am Resume Diana Laboratorio, okay, watching from Malandag National High School. She is a grade 12 student from the Division of Sarangani. Thank you for watching this afternoon's online tutorial for CPAR. Okay, let's move on. Yeah. So after all that I have said and done, after all that I have said and discussed with you, what are the takeaways that you can take away with you after this lesson? Right? Ano yung learnings na meron tayo na kailangan matandaan nyo, okay, even after several weeks na. Kasi especially this part of our lesson and then yung previous one, local materials, then this one, traditional techniques. Kasi yung combination yan, okay, yan yung dapat ma-exploit natin, ma-explore natin, makikita natin sa mga outputs ng mga contemporary artists. Not that I'm demanding them to use these things, pero ito kasi, yun na nga, they represent, okay, they represent our heritage, they represent our history, okay, our ancestry, yan, and our personality as the Philippines, diba? Yan, the pearl of the Orient Seas. Yan, I should know my history. Okay. So first takeaway is to learn, or we have learned about the 4 traditional techniques, okay, used in our country. These are the most popular ones. Okay? Number 1 would be wood carving. Okay? Hindi lang natin ito nakikita sa mga pinto. Okay? Hindi lang natin ito nakikita sa mga souvenir shops, especially sa Baguio halimbawa. Pero nakikita din natin ito sa mga art installations and museum. Okay? At isa sa pinaka mamahaling material ang wood, no? At saka I think or I believe na kailangan pa syempre ng artist ng permit to use a certain type of wood para sa kanyang wood carving artwork, no? And then aside from that, syempre nakikita din natin ito sa pagka-craft ng iba't ibang day-to-day items like toys. Ayan, meron tayong mga kitchen items like ladles na made out of wood. And mind you, that is also wood carving. Although it's very simple in shape, that is also wood carving. And that can be considered as an art form. Okay, so it's important to remember that. Sabi nga natin, yung art form, nakadepende naman yan. I mean, yung art, yung aesthetic ng isang item, isang bagay, nakadepende naman yan sa tumitingin. Ano? And then our next technique would be molding. And the best example that I have given you is all about pottery. Especially using clay, using mud and other pliable materials. So this way you can produce different jars and vases na pwedeng decorative, pwede namang may purpose, pwedeng lalagyan ng flowers, pag binigyan kanya ng flowers, kung umaasa ka pa, pero kung hindi na, pwede namang next time na. Okay, and then finally, we have what we call fabric weaving. So, emphasis on the word fabric kasi this is, there are several materials that can be used in weaving. Pwede nga yung paper weaving like what we discussed in our lesson previously. But fabric weaving is an important part of our culture as Filipinos kasi napakarami nating talaga naman na napakahuhusay na mga weavers in our different provinces, coming from the different regions in the country, no? So fabric weaving. And usually ito yung mga tinitingala talaga sa kanilang mga grupo or samahan or tribo kasi sila yung nagmana. So para itong original recipe na pinapamana. No, hindi basta skill na na-acquire mo when you go to school. No, usually tinuturo ito first hand ng mga nakakatanda doon sa mga gusto nilang sabihin na natin pagmanahan, okay, nung kanilang skills. Okay, nung paano ba yung tamang paglalagay ng mga sinulid, paano yung paggamit ng loom, ng pedal loom, for example, paano makikreate yung mga patterns. So this is very important. Kaya emphasis on the word fabric in fabric weaving as a technique in our country. And then finally, we have the basketry technique. Yeah, siguro daming beses na nating nakita yung iba't ibang uri ng basket sa paligid natin, not knowing that we are already looking at pieces of art. So these are not just products of craftsmen, but products of different artists. No? At hindi lang sa Pilipinas yan nakikilala, even in different countries outside our own. Pero here, it's very important to know na dinarayo talaga yan. No, minsan nga, yung ibang foreigners, o kaya kahit yung ibang locals natin na sabihin natin may kaya, no, they pay a really high price just to have a specially skilled craftsman create a special basket for them. Nung panahon ng pandemic, di ba, nauso yung mga plantito, nauso din yung mga nakapaso na yung halaman mo, pero yung paso, may lalagyan pa siya. Na made out of different materials shaped into a basket. So, and these products, they are thousands of pesos in price, no? Kaya it's important that we learn to know, we learn to accept. Now, these traditional techniques are also part of our contemporary times. Kaya yung mga nagsasagawa niyan, yung mga nagpo-produce pa rin yan, they are also contemporary artists. It's very important to remember that. Okay? So those are the takeaways for the traditional techniques, but we're not yet done because we also discuss the methods in basketry technique. And those methods are coiling, okay, we have twining, plating, and wicker or wickering. So these methods are what the basket craftsmen or artists do, okay, to produce baskets. Pwedeng in combination with textile, pwedeng nga in combination dun sa output ng fabric weaving, pwedeng may handle, pwedeng wala, pwedeng malaki, pwedeng kasya ang tao, pwedeng kasya ang daga. Any kind of basket. Ginagamitan ng kahit na alin sa mga method ng ito, 1, 2, or combination of all the methods. Depende na lang doon sa craftsman, depende na lang doon sa artist kung ano yung kanyang method na gagamitin to produce a basket. No? So, kapag pala namamalengke si nanay halimbawa at may daladala siyang basket, meron siyang daladalang piece of art with her, no? Sa pamamalengke pa lang, di ba, social. Namamalengke ka lang pero meron ka ng hawak-hawak na piece of art. There you go. That's basketry technique for you guys. Okay? So, given those takeaways, I believe it's that time of our lesson already. And it's quiz time. Okay? So, I have prepared here 2 sets of quiz. One will be to identification, but this is actually multiple choice, and the other one will be fill in the blanks. Okay, so these are very easy. You can type in your answer after while the time is running. Okay, so the first one, in the first part, you're going to identify what technique based dun sa apat na diniscuss natin ang applicable sa material na ipapakita ko. Okay, so again, you're going to identify the technique applicable to the material shown in the picture. Okay, but before I proceed, I'd like to say hello to my fellow ETUlay online tutors, si Tutor MC Kausarin, Tutor Maricris Mirabona, and Tutor Irene Sarmiento. Good afternoon, and thank you for watching this one with me. For being here in this online tutorial. Okay, so now are you ready for our picture number 1? So this is rattan. What do you think is a technique that can be applied to this kind of material? So earlier we discussed kung ano yung technique na ginagamit sa material na to. Okay? So you have to type in your answer. You have several seconds to type in your answer, but these are the choices. Is it A, fabric weaving, B, molding, or C, basketry technique? Time starts now. Okay, so once again, good afternoon, Ma'am Princess Matutino, Ma'am Risa Rosal Patricio, Ma'am Giselle Nicor Launyo Jaime, okay, and Ma'am Angel Mingming, and Ma'am Mary Grace II, and Resume Diana Laboratorio. And now, the answer for our first picture. Okay, you can use the technique, basketry technique for rattan. Kasi yung rattan, yung isang sa common materials na ginagamit sa paggagawa ng isang basket. There you go. Marcy, Jana May got it correctly. Marcy, you can try again. I'm sure you can do it with our next picture. Okay, Ma'am Gandara is also correct. She said basketry technique. All right, our next picture is this material, wood. Now, what technique is applicable to this material? The options are molding, wood carving, or fabric weaving. Your time starts now. You can type in your answer in our chat box. Okay, we have answers already typed in. Okay. And the answer would be letter B, wood carving. So good luck sa molding using wood, no? Or kaya sa weaving using this kind of wood. So definitely, this is wood carving. Now, again, emphasis on the word wood kasi that's one of the techniques that is really dominant in our country when it comes to carving. One of the materials that is really dominant in our country when it comes to carving. Pero I'm pretty sure na yung mga students natin na nanonood ay nagsagawa na ng soap carving. That is also art. It's carving but using a different kind of material. All right? Okay, so I hope you already have 2 points for our quiz time. Let's move on to the third picture for this part of our lesson. All right, Cecilia, Jana, Marisa, Marcy, and Colomay, they all got the correct answer for our picture number 2. Picture number 3, here it is. Ayan. So this is clay. Okay, I'm not promoting any brand, but this is an example of clay. Although mukha siya talagang I don't know, parang bazooka bubble gum. I remember when I was a kid, di ba parang ganyan yung shape nun. Tapos may kasama pang comics. So anong technique ang applicable, excuse me, sa gantong uri ng material? Okay, here are the options. We have A, basketry technique, B, wood carving, or C, molding. You can type in your answers right now. Okay, so ang dami ng points ng mga nagtatype na answer natin. They all got the correct answers in our first 2 pictures. Time is up. And our answer for this picture is letter Ma'am Marcy Gandara, Ma'am Gandara, Ma'am Cecilia, Ma'am Marisa, and Jana May. You are all correct. So the technique applicable to clay is molding. Remember sa molding, kailangan natin ng pliable material. So, pwede rin dito yung candles. Kapag ka siya ay medyo softened na, di ba? We mold it into different shapes. Kaya may candles na iba't iba rin yung shape. So, molding din yun. Pero like what I said, the most popular material used in molding would be clay. So, ito yung mga pambatang version. Siyempre, meron naman yung talagang pang professional artist na version. Pero, magandang practicean din yan, no? Clay molding. Alright. Now you have 3 points. Check your points. And let's proceed to the second part of our quiz. Okay? So, this is the second part. Fill in the blanks with the correct words. So, I'll be giving you ample time. Let's say from 5 seconds, you will have 10 seconds to type in your answers for this part of our quiz. Now, we're looking for 4 words, okay, or 4 items that we have discussed in our lesson for the day, okay? So, here is the sentence. The traditional techniques in contemporary Philippine art include blank, 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 and blank. 10 seconds. You may type in your answer right now. So once again, good afternoon to the people in our chat box and to those who are still watching and who are still with us in our session this afternoon. Okay? So good afternoon, Mark Vincent Malasigan of grade 6 Curie, Samantha Blasi, Ma'am Samantha Blasi, who is watching from Liano Elementary School. We have teachers also watching from Santo Tomas Integrated High School, Calauan, Laguna, and that is Ma'am Vanessa Valenova Balasoto. Talagang parang tennis player yung dating ng pangalan ni Ma'am. Okay? Ma'am Anna Marie Lerma, who is watching from Sisters of Mary Immaculate San Pedro, Laguna. And we have Sir Jeffrey Trazo, who is now watching from Los Arcos National High School, SDO Agusan del Sur. Thank you, sir, for being with us this afternoon. Yes, ma'am. Oh, talagang I will be remembering your name kasi para talagang tennis player yung pangalan ng mo, di ba? Ang Valentina Tereshkova. Mga ganon yung level. Teka lang, tennis player ba yun? Okay, so Paula May answered wood carving, molding, fabric weaving, basketry. The same with Ma'am Gandara. That's also her answer. Okay, let's see if you have all the correct answers for this part of our quiz. So the traditional techniques in contemporary Philippine art include wood carving. So one check, molding, fabric weaving, and basketry technique. So these are the traditional techniques, olden times na, nandyan na yan, pero ginagamit pa rin ng mga artists ngayon. Maaring nag-iba ng materials, maaring nagdagdag ng methods, nag-level up ng game nila, but still, their techniques can be discovered to be rooted in these traditional ones. Alright? And so, si Ma'am Gandara, Jana May, Paula, Ashley, they all got the correct answers for our quiz time. So all in all, you have how many points? This is 4, plus earlier we have 3. So you have 7 points plus 93 points for enduring the lesson time this afternoon. So you have a total of 100 points this afternoon. Ayan. Thank you very much once again sa mga nanood. And once again, good afternoon dun sa mga nandun sa ating chat box at sa ating mga viewers from, meron tayong from Ilocos, from Agusan del Sur, from Mindanao, from Laguna, and even Batangas. Yan. Thank you very much for being in this lesson session dito sa ating ETUlay online tutorial. Okay, but I'm not leaving you, okay, without my regular quote-unquote moment. All right. So if you're able to see my promotional post earlier, sabi ko, kung familiar kayo kay sa definition ng love, okay, that love is not love without violence playing goat. That is a popular quote actually from the movie Notting Hill. given to us by Julia Roberts. But that's not the quote that I'm going to use. Dami kong intro, no? But that's not the quote that I'm going to use here. I'm actually referring, okay, to the one who painted La Marie. So yung La Marie, yung tinutukoy ni Julia Roberts sa movie na Notting Hill, na painting sa loob ng bahay. Okay, so Marc Chagall is the painter of that particularly interesting painting. So Marc Chagall said, great art picks up where nature ends. All right? So it's very fitting to our topic kasi if you would look closely at the materials that we have discussed here, they're all what? Naturally abundant materials. Not just in our country, but in other parts of the world. Okay, and because of these materials which are abundant, okay, artists, okay, they are able to produce great art pieces. So Marc Chagall believes in the power of nature and its very important role in creating art pieces. Okay, so there you go. Great art picks up where nature ends. And this is the painting Le Marie that I was talking about dun sa movie na Notting Hill. Diba? It's, I believe Julia Roberts defined love based on this painting, that it should make you feel that you are floating. And that there are, para sabi niya, love is not love without violence playing goat. But although in the picture, in the painting, we're going to see a goat playing a violin. And on the left side, we have here a picture of the French-Russian artist in Cubism Expressionism. We have Marc Chagall. There you go. So I hope that you're able to meld together, okay, what we have learned about the local materials previously and the techniques that can be applied to these materials. That's the explanation that justifies, okay, this quote from Marc Chagall. Okay, and before I go, so I would like to say welcome and thank you also, Ma'am Gandara, Ma'am Vanessa Valinova Balasoto, Paula May, Ashlyn, Jana May, and Marcy. Okay, thank you very much for being with me and learning with me today in our online ETUlay tutorial for contemporary Philippine arts from the regions. Okay, so that's it for today. Good afternoon and goodbye. I am Tutor Mary Grace, your tutor for this afternoon, but tomorrow is Wednesday, so don't forget to be there for us in our Wednesday morning habit. That is all for tonight. This afternoon. So good afternoon and goodbye.